Good day to you, my grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's mathematical literacy lesson. This lesson is brought to you by the Northern Cape Department of Education in collaboration with Pagama Research and Development. So today, as part of preparing you for the prelim and the final, we want to consider revising on paper 1. And most importantly, we want to look at the questions that come under data handling. So at the end of the lesson, my hope is that you'll be able to identify what we call the minimum values and the maximum values. You should be able to calculate Q1, Q2, Q3. I hope by this time you know what we call Q as in quartiles. Also, you should be able to analyze what we call measures of spread. When we say measures of spread or measures of central tendency, what are they? You should know that measures of central tendency, we mean mean, median, mode. And then measures of spread, we're talking of the range, the quartiles, the percentiles, the interquartile range. So hang along and let us go. Now, before we get into the main lesson for the day, let me give you a few tips so that you can remember how the paper look like. If you wrote June exam, you will realize that the June exam paper was out of 100 paper 1, 100 paper 2. Now, with the prelim and the final, it will be out of 150 for paper 1, 150 for paper 2. So you have to really get your stuff going. And the hope is that everything that you have studied right from term 1, term 2, term 3, your whole idea from grade 11 and 10, we are going to be tested on. So paper 1, it is going to be out of 150. There's going to be questions on finance, data handling, and probability. Finance is going to count about 90 marks out of the 150. Data handling will count for about 53 marks, and then probability will be about 7 marks. When you put all together, it will count 150. You can see it there. And you are expected to write it in a period of 3 hours. Therefore, your preparation, your level of alertness will be very key. Number 2, when we talk of paper 1, we are going to include a bit of growth charts because it is talking about the applications of measures of spread in data handling. All right, now, what are the things that we are looking out for in terms of question 1 up to question 5? Question 1 is going to be plus minus 30 marks, which is going to be only on level 1 questions, meaning things that are easy for you to just read from the information given and then you write it down. So it doesn't require a lot of stress, just easy to score questions, basically about 30 marks. So think about it, being able to get about 28, 27, or even 30 out of 30 will definitely boost your confidence. Then paper 2, question 2 will be on finance, purely finance. Question 3 will be on data handling. Then you are going to have question 4 and or question 5. So question 4 and or question 5 will include context for all the other topics, meaning they will include finance, they will include data handling, they will include probability. We are not going to have a question separately that is going to deal with probability, meaning probability will be along throughout the question. Now, if that is the case, under data handling, where must you put your focus now? You have to consider classifying and organizing data, summarizing data, and representing data. Okay, then you are saying, say, which one am I talking about? I am referring to the few things that I have mentioned them here for you. Okay, like they can give you test and exam results for a school, for a class, for even a company, and they will be asking you questions on that. They can also ask you questions about national and provincial health statistics, education statistics, accidents, population, inflation, just a whole lot of information. So you have to get yourself ready for that. Then you'll be having what you call growth charts for babies and children. You are in grade 12 now. So you can have a growth chart that is going to be from maybe 2 years to 20 years for boys or for girls, and then they'll be asking you questions about BMI, just a whole lot of them. So for that, here are some few things that you need to take note of. You have to know what to call mean, median, mode, and then outliers. When we say mean, what are we referring to? Meaning that we are saying it is the sum of all the data, meaning add all the values and divide it by the total number of values that are there. That's what we call the mean. Most of the time, some of the learners, you make the mistake of confusing mean and median. And that is something that we should try and avoid going to write our papers. When we talk of median, middle. So middle after arranging. You can either arrange in ascending or descending order. As long as you have arranged the data correctly, the middle value is what we call the median. Then we have the mode. Whenever we speak of mode, we are talking of the most appearing value. So if you have your data set and you have arranged them, sometimes it makes it easier for you to see which number is considered as the mode. Then we talk of outliers. Take it that one of your SBA tasks, it was out of 50. There is a learner who scored 45 or let's say 49 or even 50 out of 50. Then the next closest learner scored only maybe 30. Look at the gap. From 45 up to 30 is so big. Nobody scored more than 35 or even 30. So then the learner who scored that 45, we consider that learner an outlier. What do we mean by that? It means it's an extreme value far away from the rest of the data set. Or say in the same task where somebody scored maybe 50 out of 50, there's a learner who scored 10. And then the next learner scored 28. So the lowest mark for that task was 10. The next lowest mark is what? 28. Do you see that there's a big gap? Therefore, the learner who scored 10, we can consider the learner also as an outlier, meaning an outlier can be a bigger number or an extremely smaller number. So we say that the data value that lies in an abnormal distance from the other values. Why am I explaining this to you? The examiner can ask you to explain any of them and give you 2 marks for that. When we say percentile, percent, it means out of 100. Are we together? Percentile, like you said, I got 50%. It means you got 50 out of 100. So don't forget. Then we talk of measures of central tendency. Like I already spoke about it. We're talking of mean, median, and mode. Those 3 are what we call the measures of central tendency. When we talk of measures of spread, then we are talking about range, quartiles, and percentiles. So don't forget, there is a clear distinction. We have what we call measures of central tendency and measures of spread. Again, measures of central tendency, what are they? Mean, median, mode. Then measures of spread are range, quartiles, and percentiles. So during the examination, what should you bring? What should you do? You should have, you need to relax. You have to put your act together because I know you're going to do better. I know you're going to do well. Once you're watching these videos and practicing, definitely you're going to do so well. So please read the instructions carefully. It's very important. Do not spend too much time on questions that are very less marks, but then it's tricky. It's making you to crack your head. Just move on. You come back later and then you answer that one. Now, if the marks are let's say 8, your responses to those questions means that it has to be worthy of 8 marks. If the question is 2 marks, it means it needs a smaller response. So take note of that. Don't leave blank spaces. Yes, you may have a challenge in answering this question. Go and do the other ones, but come and try to answer the rest. Even if you feel your answer is not all right, still write whatever you feel is not the correct answer. Write it there. The marker will find a way to mark. If there's any marks there, they will award you. So I'm encouraging you, don't leave any blank spaces. All right. On this page, I am leaving you with ideas. How can you use your calculator to solve questions? So you see, here I have labeled it what? Calculator skills. My learners, you pause the video, you watch and see how it goes. So when you have a scientific calculator like this one, then there is a way of resetting it. To reset means clear off everything to ensure that the calculator looks like brand new, like the day you bought it. So look at the steps that I have given to you and follow it. It is going to help you to clear your calculator. Because it's paper one, the examiner is definitely going to be asking you questions of leaving your answer as 1 decimal place or 2 decimal places and so on. Remember when I said to you, read the instructions carefully. It means what I'm saying is that there are questions which you have to leave your answer in 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places, or as a whole number. So that's why the examiner is saying, leave all your answers according to the appropriate decimal places or unless otherwise stated. So just always remember that because it's paper one, usually it's 1 decimal place or 2 decimal place. But then how do you reset your calculator for those decimal places? Like for example, if you want to do 1 decimal place, then I want you to press, if it is a calculator like this one, then you press Shift Mode 6 1. The 1 means 1 decimal place. If you press Shift Mode 6 0, it means you are talking of what? No decimal place. You are looking for a whole number. So if you want 2 decimal places, you will say Shift Mode 6 2. Just like that. Sometimes your calculator will give you something like what times 10 to the power -6 or to the power 6 and so on. And then you press so many numbers. To reset your calculator to normal and standard mode, you will just press Shift Mode 82. Just press that. Everything that you're going to press there will become normal. I hope you got that. Then let's talk of if your calculator is not like the Casio, but then maybe it's like the Sharp calculator. Also, there are ways of using it to reset and get your calculator going. So how do you reset? If it's a Sharp calculator, you press Setup, then you press 0, then you press the down button, and then you press 3. The setup, you will find it on the calculator. I don't have one here, that's why I'm unable to show you. If you want to use your Sharp calculator for decimal places, it is also fine. So you press Setup, then you press 1. Okay? So we have 0 to 9. Once you press Setup, it's going to give you a 0 to 9. Because you want 1 decimal place, you will just press 1 and then it will reset everything. And then if it's a Sharp calculator and it's in the form of exponents, remember in the MathSelect, we don't do much with exponents. So we want our numbers to be like on a standard level. Then you press Setup, you press 0, then you press the down button and you press 3. Setup, 0, the arrow down button. You see they have 1, 2, 3, 4 there in the middle. Press the arrow down and press the number 3. It will change everything. Then, most important thing, when you are going to the exam room, please ensure you have your own calculator, your own pens. If you can afford, try to have more than one. In most cases, you can ask your teachers or even the school. They are able to buy more than needed for the learners. Then you request for one. Instead of sitting and stressing and the pen is not writing, it's going to frustrate you. So please avoid that. Have your own pencil, your own rubber, your admission letter, your ID, and your timetable. If you have accommodation or concession, go with that accommodation letter also. All right, that takes us to the end of the examination tips. All right, now let's get into our lesson. Learners, I've already explained to you what is measures of spread and outliers, so I'm not spending much time here. Now let us go to percentiles. Like I said, percentiles, we are talking of out of 100 equal parts. So any data can be divided into 100 equal parts. Let's talk of what we call quartiles. So what I want you to understand is that whenever you hear quartiles, quartiles divide the data set into 4 equal parts. What does quartiles do? They divide the data set into 4 equal parts. So we have what we call Q1, Q2, Q3. So Q1 is that 25th percent, Q2 50%, Q3 75%. So we have Q1, Q2, Q3. Then the value which is the smallest is the minimum. The value which is the biggest is the maximum. Then we call it the 5-number summary. How do we call it? 5-number summary. So whenever the examiner says the 5-number summary, we are talking of minimum, Q1, Q2, Q3, maximum. I hope you know how to find them. If not, we'll go through it and then you'll see for yourself. All right. Then we are talking of measures of spread. Like I said to you already, whenever you see measures of spread, we are talking of range and quartiles. Range, interquartile range, and percentiles. So take note of that. Now let me bring it closer to you so that you know what I'm talking about here. Whenever we talk of range, what is it? Range is what? Highest number minus the lowest number. Please don't forget. Range is what? Highest minus lowest, or maximum minus minimum. Don't forget. So if you have your data set and you have already arranged it, then what do? We are talking of the bigger number minus the smallest number. Then, because the data is already arranged, it means the middle value is called our median. So look at something. Sometimes you can find the range, let's say from one class and the other class, the range is quite different. What does that mean? The bigger the range, the further apart are the values. So the bigger the range, it means what? The values, the marks that the learners got, they are really far apart. If the range is smaller, it means that the values are closer together. So let's come here. Remember I said to you, quartiles divide the data set into 4 equal parts. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Then, do you see where I've put the dotted lines? Those are where our quartiles are. So you have Q1, Q2, Q3. Then the learner who scored the lowest mark is there, which we call the minimum. The learner who scored the biggest or highest mark is our maximum. So we have 5 numbers. Hence, we have what to call the 5-number summary. Right. What do you have to know about all these things? Remember that the Q1, the other name is called lower quartile. And the value of the Q1 is 25%. Are we good? Q2, the other name is median. And the value of Q2 is what? 50%. Q3 is also called upper quartile. And the value for Q3 is what? 75%. So, to determine the quartiles, what do you have to do? First, arrange the data. Then you divide into 2. You start with the median. You don't start from Q1. You don't start from Q3. You always start from Q2 once you have arranged the data set. Please be able to identify Q2 followed by Q1 and Q3. That is how you do it. You don't start from Q1. So let's look at another thing that you have to take note of. Now that you have your minimum, Q1, Q2, Q3, and maximum, it means that those 5 numbers, remember I said it's called the 5-number summary. Those are the 5 values which the examiner will use to draw what you call a box and whisker plot. How do you call it? Box and whisker plot. So let's look at them. Minimum, Q1, Q2, Q3, and maximum. So you see here where the line is beginning, that is our minimum or the lowest number. Then this line is what we call Q1. This line in the middle is Q2. The line on my right is the Q3. And then where the line is ending is our highest value or maximum. So do you see that I have arranged for you like it is on a number line so that the data is in right position, so you can be able to see how far or how close the values are. Remember I said to you, the larger the range, it means the far apart are the data set. If the range is smaller, then what does that mean? A small range suggests that the values are closer, they are grouped closer to the median. So if the range is larger, it means they are far away from the median. If it is smaller, they are closer to the median. Do not forget that. If you are looking for IQR and your IQR is lower, it means the data is close together or clustered. If the IQR is big or higher, then it means the data is what? Far apart. Are we together, my grade 12s? Don't forget that. So let's look at some few examples here. I've given you two learners and their marks, and I'm now asking you to calculate the quartiles. So here are the values for the first learner. What do? We write the values down, and then after writing it down, I have arranged. You see, I start from the smallest, the next to the biggest. So now I am looking for this value. Can you tell me what is the name of this value? Good, that is the median, which is Q2. So I'm always starting from Q2. I don't start from Q1 or Q3 because it will make my job very difficult. Then now that I have got Q2, do you see I have got 4 numbers here, meaning the middle is somewhere here. Since it's between 2 numbers, I am going to add the 2 numbers and divide by 2. That's how I get 53.5. Then I go for Q3. It's also between 79 and 85. That is why you see me adding 79 and 85. So I'm going to end up getting 82. All right. Then I do the same thing for the next learner. Learners, are you getting the whole idea? When you are not clear, you pause the video and then you check what I have done to see it. All right. Interquartile range. The examiner says you must find interquartile range. Every time you see IQR, we mean Q3 minus Q1. What is IQR? Q3 minus Q1. Remember, we have managed to find Q1, Q2, Q3. So we are asking you to find the range, the range of the quartiles. That's what we call interquartile range. So you take Q3 minus Q1 for both learners, you find them, and then you are done. Now, if you look, the first learner, the Q3 is IQR is 28.5. The next learner, the IQR is 33. It's a range. Remember I said to you, the bigger the range, the far apart away from the median. The smaller the range, the more clustered or closer to the median. So I have given you as exam type questions. Let's look at them quickly. So I have given you the marks out of 100. The first one is to arrange the result in ascending order. Ascending order means what? From small to large. What's ascending order? From small to large. So you can see it is nicely arranged. Next question. They are saying I must determine the median. So the median means first arrange. Remember, that's why the examiner said arrange in the first question. So now we are looking for median, the middle value. If you look closely, it is between these two values. Are we together, my learners? So I am adding the 2 numbers dividing by 2, meaning my median is what? 63.5. Don't round it off unless the examiner says round it off. Otherwise, leave it as 63.5. Okay. Number 3. Determine the number of learners who obtain a mark higher than the median. So let's go back. What's the median? 63.5. Now the examiner says, how many learners got more than 63.5? So it means we are counting any number which is from 64. So you count and count and count. You realize that there are 9 learners. Imagine doing this and getting 3 marks, 2 marks. Before you are aware, you have a lot of marks. All right, let's look at the other one. We are supposed to find what? The range. What did I say to you about range? Good. Range is highest number minus lowest number. So what's our highest number? 90. Our lowest number is 14. What do we do? We subtract the 2. 90 minus 14. Can you see now the range is 76. Is it big? According to the data set here, that is big. What does it mean if it is big? What it means is that the data is far apart. So let's check if it is true. See, somebody got 90, but somebody also got 14. They're too far apart. Because after the 14, the next number is 52. So nobody got in the 20s or 30s or 40s. Which means already there's a clue. This number is an outlier. It's far away from the rest of the data set. Okay. So now I am asking you, is the range higher or lower? That's 76. Looking at the data set, what will be your response? The range is higher. Why? Because the max is out of 100. and somebody is already scoring 14. That is too far away. So the range is what? Higher. All right. Now we're supposed to find the mean. So to find the mean, I want you to add all the values and divide by how many values are there. So you count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. So we count all the numbers, add them, and divide by 18 values. That is why you see me having 18 here. So my mean is 63.7. You leave it like that. If the examiner says as a whole number, you take it to 64. Now let's find Q1 and Q3. Remember, the whole key is for you to arrange. When you don't arrange, you are going to make a lot of mistakes. So please don't forget that. So you arrange, you find your Q1. Where is my Q1? Is around here. Then first, what I want you to do is to try and find the Q2. Remember, once you have the data set, find the Q2 so that you know how many numbers are on your left, how many numbers are on your right. Once you're able to do that, then you find middle of the other halves so that you get your Q1 and Q3. Let us look at the next question. Calculate the IQR. What is the formula again? IQR equals Q3 minus Q1. So sometimes, if they don't give to you in the exam and you are able to bring it out, it's perfect. You are able to get marks for that. So it's 75 minus 55, which is 20. You see now it is a bit smaller. So now the examiner is asking you, what does the IQR tell us about the spread? If the IQR is smaller, it means what? The marks are closer together. You see, the IQR is only 20. It means what? It is way lower than the range. What it means is that they are not spread out like the range. Okay? So it means that the marks are far closer together. All right. Now I'm asking you, which is a more accurate description of the spread? Should we use the range or the IQR? Well, looking at the information given here, then the best would be for the IQR. What is the reason? Because there is an outlier. So what does that mean? If you are asked to find which is the better option between the range and the IQR, check if there's an outlier. If there's an outlier, it means the range is out, definitely out. Then you are going to say IQR is better because it is not going to be affected by the outlier. Now, let's summarize what we have done for the day. Please read the instructions carefully, my learners. I am begging you, read so that you know. And if it's possible, answer the questions that you know first. Don't sit on questions that are going to stress you and make your life miserable. Answer the ones that you know first. Don't spend too much time on questions with very less marks. No, your responses must match how many marks are required of you. If it's 5 marks, you have to put in a bit of effort. Sometimes if they say verify, you have to work, and then conclude so you can get all those marks. All right. Don't leave blank spaces. Like I said to you already, please try to attempt. Even when you feel that the answer is not correct, please write something. That answer which you think is not correct, write it. We will mark and find out if you deserve any marks there. Please answer the quick win questions. Those 2 marks, they are very easy. It doesn't require. It means most of the time, we want you to just read from the information that is given to you on the question paper. So how do you then skip that? Right. So as part of you trying to work harder, I am asking you to try this homework. When you get to your comfort zone, please try this homework and then see if you can be able to answer them because it is based on the questions that we have just answered now. Thank you so much, my learners. It was very nice working with you. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.